right, and we are live with a hell of a show special here. No, it is not Monday. I believe it is Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's Thursday, and we're doing a special show tonight for a couple that's on here. They just launched a project. I'm all kinds of excited about talking about this. Before I get too into this, let me know if you can see and hear me over here in the comments. I'm gonna make sure everything is greenlit on my side. Let's get some shares out there, and we'll start having some fun with this. I will tell you right now that if you can see and hear me, and you're hearing what I'm saying right now, there probably will be some shenanigans on this show. I know that with one of my guests that I've had on here before, we've had a lot of shenanigans in the past. The other one is a fairly new guest on here, but something tells me shenanigans are afoot with that one as well. So let's go ahead and get some shares out there, and we will get going here very shortly. I hope everyone had a good and productive Thursday. Mine was just insanely busy. More information to follow on that one, but I have been incredibly busy interviewing all kinds of people from other industries other than comics. I know I went outside of it. I know I shouldn't do that, but it happens. So let me see. We got everything set up on here. So let's go ahead and make it where I'm not the prettiest face up here, because that can't just happen that way. So tonight's show is all about a campaign that launched yesterday. And we're going to bring my guest up here to talk about this, because we have got Amy and Justin Hunt are here to join us up tonight. What's going on, y'all?
Not much. Well, no, that's a lie. Everything. Everything's going on.
I was going to say, you've got quite a bit going on over there. Now, before we get into all the talk about that and the shenanigans that I know that will follow from that, well, go ahead and let us know, who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
Well, I'm Justin Hunt. A lot of you may or may not know me. I'm a comic book artist and illustrator. I've done work for Mad Cave Studios, Source Point Press, Counterpoint Comics. I've done stuff for Marvel. I've done stuff for Codex Entertainment, Big Dog Inc., Coffin Comics, and my newest company that I ever worked for is Mythos Comics Groups, but we'll talk about that later. Yes. You can find me at the local watering hole. You can find me at a couple conventions, and you can find me on Instagram, the little @Art of Justin Hunt. I try to make it really hard.
There you go. And Amy, go ahead and let us know about yourself as well.
I have none of that, none of those credentials. I am new to the world of comics, but do have a new character and book out.
Yes.
Starter yesterday.
And I believe we're going to be talking a little bit about that at some point, I think. Now, the first thing that I want to go ahead and go into with this is, number one, of course, Justin, I haven't had you on as a guest in a while, and I've kind of noticed some things in the time that I haven't had you on here, and you're almost kind of getting that look of being the Tony Stark of the comic world out there. You're flying planes, and you're doing all kinds of stuff out there, and it's like, wow, you're getting into that. It's really cool seeing the evolution of what you're doing throughout all the years that I've known you through all this. And it's really cool to see you're, moving along with this. One thing that I definitely want to say, and I did say it the last time I had you on the show, congratulations on getting married. And it must be working, because she's on here with you on the show tonight instead of just heckling you from across the table, which was what happened last time.
Yeah.
So it's very cool to have y'all on here, because this is one thing that I definitely want to bring up, is that Amy has this character, Ninja Witch, that we're going to be talking about, which is an awesome concept of a character. We're going to let her talk more about it, so I don't give any spoilers, of course. But it's very cool that the both of you are working together on this, and it's a kind of a family thing that's being put together. She's working on the writing of it and the piecing of it together and everything. You're doing some of the artwork and stuff on there, and then of course y'all are getting other artists involved in this. What does it feel like to you, Amy? How surreal is it to go ahead and have this, where you're about to have this book physically in your hands for the first time?
Oh, it's crazy. This is absolutely crazy. If you had told me even 2 years ago that anything like this would happen, and I would be a part of this world, not just supporting him, but actually be a part of it, I wouldn't have believed you. I'm so new to this, and the way it came about, and he's just very...
No, tell him how. Tell him how it came about, Mrs. I don't know TV shows.
We'll get there later.
Okay, so we got something to get to later. I'm gonna earmark that one, because it sounds like something we definitely need to delve into.
So if I'm Tony, she's Pepper, right? But so you talk about I do the flying and stuff. Well, last week I was in Vegas, and I took a Ferrari out for 148 miles an hour.
I saw that.
Took a Porsche out there. And And I'm an adrenaline junkie, so we're ready to keep doing it. And I'll tell you, like last night when this launched, that was an adrenaline rush that I haven't experienced yet.
Oh yes, exactly. And Tim says, "I want to be happy." Then, yeah, exactly. I hear you. I want to be. I want to be Tim. Justin. Whenever I grow up, I want to be that way. Flying planes and driving all the cars and everything. And then,
Hey,
of course,
Tom. Hey, Tim.
Tom knows some people on here. Tom knows everybody. So I mean, yeah, of course, Tom knows you. Tom is everywhere. And Tom, this is actually, I'm sorry, I couldn't give you number 17 on this one. This is about Justin and Amy tonight, so I couldn't give you number 17 on the spot. But he's got more times on the show than anybody else, even than you, Justin, which is kind of up there.
I'm only single digits though. I'm in like 8, I think.
See, I mean, we can work with that though. We can definitely get there. But tell me how we came about with the concept of Ninja Witch. I mean, this is something that is very different. I mean, a lot of times people talk about the comics and the inspiration that goes into things, and they're kind of going, seen it, done it, heard of it. It's just been kind of molded differently. It's evolved to something else. It kind of gets old at that point when new ideas and concepts come out. And then this one came out, and I kind of gave it a double take going, wait a minute, this is something interesting. So tell us how that concept came about.
Well, basically, I'm a moron, and I can't remember the name of TV shows, apparently. And we were in the middle of watching I almost did it again. Oh my God.
Okay. So she was being introduced to different characters, and Warrior Nun was a television show.
Yes.
So we had been in middle of season 2, and she was off in the kitchen, and I'm flipping around the television, and she's like, "Hey, when I'm done, you want to watch Ninja Witch?" And I was like, "Don't know what you're talking about." She's like, "Ninja Witch." I was like, "Nope, no, seriously, Ninja Witch. We've been watching it." And I was like, in my mind, right? I'm like, I have no fucking clue what she's talking about. But she's like, "Fine." So she grabs the remote and she pulls it up on the thing, and it says Netflix, Warrior Nun. She goes, "Same thing." I was like, "Absolutely not, sweetheart."
It's a W and an N.
And I was like, so we're trying to find the difference, and she's into like witchcraft and the occult and crystals and all that. So I gave her the challenge. I said, "You think it's a cool character? Go ahead and create a backstory."
So what exactly is the backstory? Because already, I'm going to tell you, I've already noticed some of the sigils that are present on some of the artwork, and I'm piecing together things in my mind going, wait a minute, these are different mythologies that are being put together. So how did you come about with this, and what exactly are you kind of putting together on this? As much as you can tell, of course.
Why are you looking at me?
How much can we tell?
Well, we want to give it a little bit without giving away the farm, right? We want people to watch.
I will say my son helped me come up with the backstory.
Parts of it, yeah.
He helped me come up with parts of it. He was a help. Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know what can we say.
Okay,
part of her backstory is in the first book that's on Kickstarter right now. So,
obviously she's a ninja and a witch. We will tell you that her story spans over 700 years. Book 1 is chapter 1 and the prologue. So the way we wrote it, Amy and I, we had some ideas and we bounced them back and forth. And we had this giant, 6 foot by 6 foot whiteboard. And she would throw ideas and I would put these different things. And we're looking through history. So this follows Genevieve, who we find out later is Ninja Witch. But Genevieve comes from a magical family. Leave it at that. And for one reason or another, she's no longer part of that family, and she has to find her way across the world. And over the centuries, she's involved in many, many different key things in history that let's just throw it out there. There are certain things in history where people have disappeared. Yeah, we're not. So people have either disappeared or things have magically taken place, but there's no explanation for them.
Right.
So Amy will tell you she's not a nerd, but what won me over is she quoted Last Crusade on one of our dates. I was like,
I think it was our first date.
Second date.
Second.
But anyway, she quoted it, and I was like, wow, she's a hidden nerd.
I didn't know that was a nerdy thing, in my defense.
Anyway, so if I sit there, I say I like castles, and she goes, tapestries? We have many tapestries. I was like, all right. But anyway, what we did was the character has all these different dynamics. So we've taken that kind of an ideology of how do we change stuff, right? Like in Last Crusade, he meets Hitler, right? So it's like, wow, this is a real, true historical figure. How do we tie it in? And then if you look at Quentin Tarantino, he does a lot of what ifs, right? Here's a historical thing, but like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, what if this changed, or what if this? So what we did was we took a lot of those historical things, we wrote them on this whiteboard, and we said, what if we change this, but the outcome doesn't change? But we give you the explanation, and we explain why you still don't know about it. So so Amy came up with the stories, and then like here's the arch, right? And then I would take it and I'd turn it into a paragraph form. And then Amy would look at it and say, well, I don't like that. I like this, change that. And then I wrote the script. And I'm a product of the 70s and 80s. Ahoy. I'm a product of the 70s and 80s. Amy's a product of the 80s and 90s. And so we have different influences. So I wrote the script to read like a Indiana Jones and
James Bond
together. So you have this, right? There's a bunch of Easter eggs in the book. If you are a fan of the 80s and 90s and pop culture and pulp culture as well, you might see them. And like when we were doing it and the artist was doing some of the pages, he was like, on one of them, remember, he was like, oh my God, this is right out of this. And I was like, damn right it is. Yeah. So it's super fun, but she leads an army of cross between ninjas, and some are witches and some are soldiers, and some have powers and some don't. And it's a bit of a coven, but it's a little bit bigger than that. And she fights against the evil
Jaganati,
which is what Gabe came up with.
It's our
version of the Illuminati.
Okay.
And they are led by the Shadows. And Ninja Witch is born of the fire. So our first book is Ninja Witch, Fire and Shadows.
Nice.
So
now, the all-important question is, if you're dealing with the witchcraft and everything, do you actually show how you're supposed to fold fitted sheets? Because that's witchcraft right there.
You know what? Honestly, he's the only one in this household that can fold a fitted sheet. I roll it up in a ball and throw it in the closet.
Exactly.
I did it like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, look, and she's like, fuck it.
I swear, I do the same thing. My fiance, I tell her all the time, she's got to be in the witchcraft thing because she'll fold it really quickly with perfect corners and everything. I'm like, this thing doesn't even have corners. How do you do that?
Army.
Yeah.
So now you brought up about like the different symbols and stuff like that.
Yes.
Those are seen predominantly, and let me give you a teaser.
Oh boy.
From the prologue.
Oh yeah.
So if you look, there's other symbols that don't really exist in Japanese culture.
Correct.
But
there
what?
They are.
Look at that.
Nice.
Now, how the hell does this fit in with it? I'd love to tell you, but you're gonna have to buy the damn book. So a lot of them, and one of the things that people look at is like the pentagram that's on her neck thing. I think people really need to go and research what a pentagram originally meant.
Yes.
Versus saying what they think it means.
Yep.
And a lot of people are like, this is a dark and this is this. Go research before and look at all the symbols that she has and the symbols that how they tie together. The names of the places are very important. The location of the bad guys is important. The location of the good guys is important. Where the places, the sets take place is very important. Colors are important. Yeah, you'll see there's a lot of Haley, that symbol was actually Amy's curse. She's
You dork.
I was like, pause, pose, shake it, girl. I'm gonna put you on the bag. So anyway, there's a lot to this story, and I think people are going to be kind of surprised with the direction it's going. Yeah, I mean, it's super fun, and then the covers that are there are just really to pull the reader in too.
They're very dynamic.
And we're going to show some of the artwork and stuff like that as well, because we got to show the pretties with this as well. But with the storyline with you're going with this, I mean, how long of a series are we looking at this? Can you give us some kind of a inclination on what we're looking at for this?
Oh my gosh, this book or this character, there's just so many stories that we already have like
6
hundreds.
chapters out, 6 chapters here, and then more coming.
Yeah, we had everything listed out on that whiteboard he was talking about, and we have. I mean, this could go on forever. Her story basically writes itself at this point. It's pretty easy.
Well, and the cool part is, when you get to book chapter 5, you're going to be revealed something, and then you're going to have to go back to the first 4 and see all the Easter eggs that we have hidden. And the cool part about the Easter eggs is the colorists and the interior artists don't even know about them, because I add a lot of them when I do the inking.
Mm-hmm.
Or I add them in like very subtly in the writing, and I tell Amy, I'm like, what if we did this? And she goes, well, how would you show that? I was like, fuck it, we'll just figure it out. And then, but like, you ever see the board where they got like all the different posters with strings everywhere?
Oh yeah.
That's what our whiteboard looked like.
It was
we're gonna do this. We're gonna tie it over here. And she's like, how? I was like, I don't know. We'll do this and we'll make this happen. And well, what if we did this? And she's like, well, what about this character? I'm like, hell yeah, let's make that character do this, and then we'll add this up there. And since she already spoiled it in her last interview, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody?
Why? I didn't know. You didn't put that in my list of things to not say.
Well, I thought you said tell me what to talk about, and if it wasn't on there, you shouldn't have said it. But 51% owner, say what you want. Anyway, Amy is definitely afraid of
spiders.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Spiders. So her nemesis coming up will be Spider Queen.
All right.
But here's the question. Who's the Spider Queen?
Right.
Right.
That's what can be interesting, because that can still be twisted around. You don't know what to look for until it shows up on the last page, like the comics of old.
Correct. And speaking of coming up, like, when you open them up, this book is really cool because we have a double page spread right in the middle of it. And then we have a huge revealing splash page. And then our interior art does not fit a 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel, 4. 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel, 4.
Right.
It's overlapping art, and
yes,
there's action to it. There's movement. There's freedom.
Yes.
Speaking of the freedom, I'll let Amy talk to you about the freedom that we allowed the artist.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we gave him the script, and we would give him an idea of where we wanted to go, but for the most part, he pretty much had free reign to make the characters not the characters, but like the pictures, what they were, the drawings.
So yeah, so like a fight scene would say, instead of saying panel 1 this, panel 2, panel 3, I would just write panel 1 through 5. Make this shit happen. Here's some key things we want to see, but on panel 6 you have to have this.
Right.
And then he would send me the sketches, and then I would, hey, here's the vision, here's this, and he would twist it out. And by his name is Shannon Potratz. Mm-hmm. He's out of Spokane, Washington. So I've known him for a couple of years. I actually asked him a year and a half ago, and he was too busy. Then I reapproached him, and I said, here's what I pay. And he says, I'm signing up.
It was really easy to work with, too. He was very accepting of our ideas and excited about it.
Well, and the thing is, he's my age, and he's into a lot of the same stuff. So there's a really cool scene in there, and I won't tell you which one it is, but he was struggling with the scene, and so I sent him some links to some movies that we know and some stuff, and I was like, make this feel like this. He goes, well, people are going to recognize it. Damn right they're going to recognize it. Make it feel like that.
Right.
And it happens more than once. And you can, if you read this, you can see where my influences are from, and then you can look at some of the other stuff and guess where her influences are from. And that's really the symbiotic part of it. She just comes up with this flow of consciousness, but she didn't know where to go with it. So even when I'm stuck, I'm like, I have to get this character from here to here. I don't know what goes in here. And then she'll brainstorm it and send me a text or talk to me. And I'm like, all right, that's great. And then we'll jot it down and I'll write it all up. And then we try to put it into a set amount of pages. And originally this book was going to be 70? 68 pages. But we have a very good mentor. Brian Polito has mentored us in this process of what works, what doesn't work, how to build stuff, what people are looking for. So we trimmed it, and which is great because now we're already ahead on book 2. Mm-hmm. So this year we'll have book 2 coming out also. So.
Oh, awesome. So, 2 books in 1 year on that to go ahead and get the momentum going for the series. That'd be awesome with that.
Like I said, these stories they're easy to write. It's very easy to come up with, very easy to write.
Now, I'm going to go ahead. Let me change up the screen here just a moment. We're going to get itty bitty up here. We got to speak in miniature voices right now. But let me go ahead and bring up the setup here. My other monitor met its demise recently, so I'm going to have to do this old school. But we've got some.
How come his voice didn't get smaller? Just mine. That's weird.
We got some of the covers we're showing on this one here to show the diversity that's in the covers and the different styles that are on there, and all of them have that. It has that in your face 90s. I've got to have this in my collection style to it.
Hey, William Russell.
How did you get everyone to kind of get board with, getting the same kind of style, but in their, perspective of doing that?
We just gave him what we were looking for. We did send Justin's concept art. So they kind of knew what the costume was going to look like. And, we gave them a direction of what her magic would be, any weapons that she uses.
We also gave very explicit. So a lot of them asked questions, and my concept art was very detailed. Like this is a gray, this is this. So there was the continuity through it because it's a new character. Right. Nobody can open up 4 books, right? But what we wanted to do is we just said basically here's a character. Here's kind of what's going on. Here's if you look in Courtney Rose's in the top center, mm-hmm. and then Moog Park's on the top right. Those are there's a lot of ravens, and she has a familiar named Belladonna. So some people use it, some people didn't. But we wanted their interpretation because each one has a dynamic style, and we wanted it in their style. But Amy was very explicit of she can be a sexually attractive character, but not a sexually focused character.
Yeah, I didn't want to overtly just sexed up, tits out, butt showing, completely covered. I wanted her to look badass is basically what it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then so what it was we actually started this about 1.5 years ago, and the original covers were the top 3. Rob Hicks on the top left, really dynamic one where she's in a pentagram with weapons around her. Mm-hmm. Hair's going, which is kind of cool, right? Because out of all these, it's the only one that shows her without the hood up.
Right.
And she's got the tattoo and all. Then you have Courtney Rose and then Moog Park. And when we got those, we're like, this is great. And then we won't go into details, but the company we were working with, we weren't aligned. And Amy owns the IP, so we all parted ways. And we said, we'll take some time and do this. My 2 covers on there, they've been there for a while. And then I said, I really want to give a good rounded pen of books to check from.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to Mike DeBalfo, who was in. Marissa Pope was in.
Yep.
And then I've been a huge fan of Iden Kurbis. I have a commission of his of Indiana Jones, and I showed her his art, and I was like, we have to get him on here. And I sent him a message, and he's like, absolutely. And then Bella Racklin, she's on the bottom right.
Yes.
She did a piece of it's Venom and Spider-Man, and they're like falling out of a building. And when she did that, I bought it up right away, and I have the original art, and she loves it so much. She's like trying to get it back from me. And I was like, no. But like the dynamics on them, because those are all analog, like Bella and Iden and Moog. There's no digitization anywhere on there. It's all actual ink and color pencils and stuff.
Yes.
So we wanted enough to have people choose from. We also wanted them all to be really dynamic and have this really strong feel to them, where when you look at them, you're like, shit, I don't know which one I want. So
they definitely have that feel. And I mean, the character itself, I mean, this is just showing some of the artwork that's built around this. You mentioned earlier you wanted her to be, you know, strong, like a badass female character on there. You succeeded. I mean, that right there shows it right there.
And let me tell you, that's not even in the book. This is how we picked our artist. I wrote a 4-page script and sent it out to an artist and colorist and everything, and said, draw. And that's how we picked. And this is one of our test pages of her breaking into a chemical plant.
Good choice, Haley.
Nice. And yes, because Haley just said she had to get them all. And they're actually, you know, pretty affordable to go ahead and get all of them that way and at least have a chance to own, you know, all the different ones that are going through here. And in getting into the interior, this shows some of the interior pages right here. This shows what he was talking about earlier about the lines aren't definitive in here, and it's not as standard, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 panel, 1, 2, 3, 4, like he was talking about. There is no pattern to this. It just kind of goes all over the place, but it has so much fluidity in just the 3 that I'm seeing right here. I can't wait to see what goes on with the rest of them.
There's 4 there.
Oh, there's 4?
Look at the background.
Oh, yep. Okay. See, I'm getting old. I miss those things.
And those don't even have the lettering on them. And which the lettering, I was like, oh, we'll save money and I'll do the lettering. And I was working on it, and we sent it out to a couple people. And I'm friends with Garrett Gunn over at Source Point. You know, he does Little Red Ronin and Good Boy and stuff like that. He's got Bad Girl coming out soon. Shameless plug. I have a cover. But he wrote back and he's like, dude, I love this, and this, but your lettering sucks. Mm-hmm. And I went down to the kitchen, grabbed some humble pie, said, who do you know? He's like, use this guy. I reached out, and now Dave Lentz is putting it's magic, man. It's night and day. I was like, oh, mine's good enough. And I looked at Dave's. I'm like, who the fuck was I kidding? What am I doing? So we'd rather pay and have quality so that the reader has quality.
We wanted to do it right.
Well, what you said about the other interiors with exteriors and interiors, where they're different.
What did I say?
Where the covers are good, and then you open the inside, and you're like,
oh yeah. We've seen some books where the cover is just absolutely amazing, gorgeous, and then you open it up, and the interiors, the fingers are squared off at the tips, and like the faces look all weird, and ears are like up on top of their head. It's really weird. And when there's no consistency like that, like we wanted to make sure that the interior art was going to be just as good as the cover.
And it's unique. One of the things that got us to do this was also, you brought it up earlier, Phil, in the beginning, was there's so many cookie cutters, right? Superhero does this, they get a power, they do this, they do that. You know, hey, we're Disney. We've already made all the movies as animations. Now we're going to make them live action. Hey, we're going to remake Starsky and Hutch. Hey, we're going to remake this one. We're going to make Red Dawn again. We're going to like at some point the creativity is missing, and we think that when people read this, it might tie back and be like, oh, I can see the influence from here to here, but it doesn't follow anybody else's story. It's unique.
And I like that it's that way because it gives you something fresh and new to get into instead of going into it going, okay, what is this going to be like with that mindset? automatically you're kind of going into this going, okay, I know it's going to be different. It's already got the artwork that draws me in and everything. The storyline's got to have something that really draws me in because of the background of the story, that, you know, as much information you've been able to give us. That should be enough to go ahead and draw people in and say, okay, this is something that you need to have in your indie collection, because this is indies. I mean, this is what I talk about all the time on my shows about putting your passion into your work. Justin, we've talked many times about the passion you put into your work as far as the artwork and all. And now your wife is actually doing this and being a creative and putting her passion into this. This is awesome. This right here is showing the melding of two minds coming together on this that actually live under the same roof, you know, in the family, and work together on this. And that is awesome to be able to see that.
Yeah, it's cool to have her visions, and, you know, she's sadly, the book that she created is coming out before a book that I've ever designed. But, you know, when we look at it too, is, you know, I've had people ask me, like, why aren't you drawing it? And I have my hands in so many different damn cookie jars in life that to do this character justice, I really wanted to just write it and step back.
Yes.
And have actual other creatives as part of it. But like, I do the covers, but I do the inking on this, and I get to be the art editor and, you know, oversee that stuff, which is really fun, and it's worth it. And, you know, you're talking about the story and bringing the characters in. Chapter 1 really kind of sets you know, you pick a Star Wars movie, right? You have this scroll, and then boom, you get hit with it, right? You get an Indiana Jones movie. It's like, hi, I'm Dr. Jones. Boom, you get hit with it, right? You come off of a James Bond. Boom, there's a car chase. This book starts like that.
Nice.
And then, you know, we were like, we really want people to understand it versus getting to the end and be like, wait, that's it? So we have a prologue. Now, instead of having the prologue in the beginning, we want you to read it and be like, all right, this is cool, but how do we get here?
Yes.
So then we take the prologue, and what's really cool is, this is my Star Wars influence. The first part, chapter 1, has a very much serial kind of feel to it, right? It's kind of got that Indiana Jones happy, campy kind of feel to it. And then we went straight into Empire Strikes Back in the prologue, and we're like, we're going to show you death and destruction at a level that you shouldn't be reading in this book. But it's not gruesome. It's a mind thing. It takes a little girl and shows you why she's where she is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's one scene, and the artist was like, dude, I love this page. I didn't expect this. He's like, I was like, it's so fucking morbid. And he's like, I thought it was too morbid. I was like, fuck no, burn that shit. So it was, you know, what scene I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's pretty cool. So.
Well, sometimes it's the psychological feeling that's being left out of some of these things that are out there, because that is something that actually draws you into that world a little bit more. The psychological, you know, pull into a comic will actually get more readers involved in what's going on there than some of the other things that are going on, simply because now you're no longer just reading the comic. You are a part of the action and, you know, everything that's going on. You have to make decisions as you turn the pages.
Hi, Amanda. We see you. Yeah, it's as the pages, like, I wrote the script, the pages would come in, and I would get the pencils, and then I would show her, and she's like, and then I would ink it, and then we'd add stuff, and then I'll show you the book really quick.
Oh, here we go.
Starts here, and it ends here. So there's the book. This is all the pages.
It's fascinating.
For the book. It's really cool. But what's neat is she can look through this and go page after page, and she sees it evolving, and she was getting more and more like
excited.
Yeah.
And this is really happening. You
know, and then Dave will send me stuff, and the covers would come in, and I'd be like, what do you think about this cover? And she's like, oh, can you change this? And I'd write the person, hey, can we change this a little bit? And one thing that we've done that I'm not sure how other publishers do this. Every person who did a cover got paid before they did the cover.
Yeah, that's what it should be. Yes.
We have an agreement with our colorist and our interior artist. They only get paid for the pages that get put into the book. So they send me 3 pages. We approve them. We pay them.
Yes.
Do them, pay them. So the book is paid for. We've paid for everything out of pocket. The book is done. Far as costs go, the letterer paid. So when we get even some of the tchotchkes, what are they called? The stretch goals?
Yes.
We already have them. They're done. So it's not like we're not doing a Kickstarter to pay for the product.
Right.
We're doing a Kickstarter not even to recoup. We're doing the Kickstarter to pay for chapter 2. So we're already talking to the colorists. We're talking to the artists. We're talking to the cover. The covers are already being worked on for the second book.
Well, and Haley, I think Justin being on that side of things and seeing how long it can take some people to pay him for covers and stuff, that's where he's like, we're not doing this. We're not going to be that group.
Well, that's one thing I will go ahead and I'm going to kind of toot Justin's horn. Wait, that came out wrong, or did it? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and say, that one thing about Justin, I've had him on the show several times, so I can mess with him because, trust me, we're being very tame tonight on this show.
He didn't even call me pork chop yet.
Exactly. I mean, I'm trying to be nice about this. But the main thing that I've noticed with Justin is he has the old school morals are there. Honor is there. Integrity is there. And I'm sure this is something that you definitely want to portray in your book. And before even having y'all on the show to talk about this, I already saw all of this in your campaign as it was going forward on this. So that is awesome that you're able to go ahead and do that and portray that without even having to, come up on here with it. It's just, it's a part of who you are. And I love how that's actually showing up with that. So, I mean, I got to give you props on that one, definitely.
And, we've already, the campaign kicked off at 1:00 yesterday afternoon, 4:00 Eastern. The night before, I was not
sleeping.
I was not a nice guy. Went to go to bed and I was like, I'm sorry, I've been yelling at you. I'm stressed. I want this to be right, but I have to go finish. I can't wait. So I went back and tweaked everything. It launched, and then I think it was Trevor Brown. Somebody sent me a message on Facebook Messenger like, hey, dude, this is all great, but I don't know who drew each cover. I'm like, shit. So I'm jumping on really quick, and I'm creating the graphic, and I brought it up because I was like, I did everything I was supposed to do except for that.
Live and learn.
And then I was nervous because I was like, man, we have $4,000 to launch this thing to get it funded. And the reason we picked the $4,000 is in order to print and ship for the large quantity we hope to do, it's going to be about $4,000. Right. So, and we're not mailing it in as a media or anything. We're going to pack it up right. Coffin Comics and even Big Dog Inc., they're great when they come to packing stuff, right? You're getting the product and you're not getting it jacked up. 13 minutes, man. We funded in 13 minutes.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
I was floored.
And I told you not to worry, right?
Sure you did. We're now at
I did.
Last I looked, we're at 7,000. Oh shit, where's my dashboard? 7,746. We're 193% funded in just over a day.
Yes.
28 days to go. Everything that we're offering is not on the page right now.
And okay, and I wanted to kind of mention that too, because I've seen more and more people that'll do that. It's like you'll go through the campaign and it's like, but wait, there's more. It's the 2 a.m. infomercial style that you put on there because it's the controlling of the dreaded lull. That is something that everyone is creators. I'm about to endeavor on that on my own next month. No, not looking forward to it. But whenever it does come about, at least I have some ideas on there. And what you're doing is controlling that lull by doing that, which is awesome because you're able to offer some new things in there and recreate that energy all over again.
So 2 things on that, and then I'll answer Amanda's question. Part of the mentoring we got was don't put the whole farm out.
Exactly.
Keep some of the product back because you're going to have that lull, right? So there's 3 different secret covers each one's only offered for 4 days in the middle of the campaign. And the only other way to get it is to get some of those bigger packages, right? But there's more. And you're not going to know until I tell you. So there's some stuff that's secret, some stuff that's hidden, some stuff that other publishers do that we're like, hey, that makes sense. Let's do it. And again, there's a lot of people who do Kickstarters. And then there's maybe 3 or 4 of them who just consistently turn out quality product. And we looked at them. And if you look at the way I built it, we went by their formula, right? If you're going to make cookies that taste like Duncan Hines all the time or whatever the hell they are, you follow the same formula. So they gave us the recipe. Now you can spice it up and add this and tweak it, but follow the damn recipe. It's there. Tom Hutchison, I'm trying to find him over there. He'll tell you he's got a formula. It works.
Yes.
Brian Polito said, hey guys, listen to me. I've done this. I've gone from here to here. We're not there yet, right? But we'll see where we go. And Amanda, this is technically my second campaign. Mm-hmm. My art book was my first campaign. It took me 30 days to do $5,000, which is why I was nervous as hell on this one. But as far as a comic book campaign, this is my first one that we've driven together. I've been a part of 67, 80 something Kickstarters as a artist, as a cover artist, or even I've done some interiors for some stuff for David Hayes, which is different because I was just promoting it and driving people there. So, hey, go buy my book, the one I worked on. Mm-hmm. And then the important part is this doesn't end when the campaign ends. We're going to be at comic book conventions. We're going to have it. We actually have some local comic shops here in Washington that are going to carry the book. And then the other part that we're going to do that a lot of places don't, some people will send you 5 comps or 3 comps. Ryan Kincaid, when I did Persuasion, sent me I got a case of them, huge case. And we're going to send out a lot of comps because when Mike DeBalfo's at a show and he's got 30 copies of Ninja Witch, that's 30 people who it costs X amount of money to print a book, but those people are going to come back and buy the second campaign.
Yes. Right?
Marissa Pope's going to put books out, and she has 2 covers. They're going to buy that book, right? Moe Park, same thing. That's the purpose of this, right? Yes. You give the artist, and then the artist makes a couple bucks on it. Great. It's a residual, right? And then like Moe Park, she's on for 4 books. She's on contract to do covers for 4 of them. She's got me on contract. I have to do a cover for everyone. I don't know.
For everyone.
Yeah. So, but it's about taking care of people. It's about providing for the artist, because at the end of the day, if we're a success, they're a success. If they're a success, we're a success. It's a team. Ciao, Sheila. We'll talk to you later.
And thank you, Amanda.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
She said, crushing it. Very inspiring.
Yes.
But it is, there's a lot of people who they fire and forget, and they forget that the creatives are the one who helped them.
Yes.
This could be Justin Hunt's cover, our story, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But Shannon did the interior. Nick Capone did the colors. David Lentz did the lettering. We have 8 total artists doing covers, right? Not to mention just that, Hedwin Zaldivar did 2 colors on 2 of them. Mm-hmm. Nick Capone did colors on 2. Rob Hicks did his own colors, which is freaking amazing. And then Sanju Namandu did one of my colors. So
oh, wow.
It's 14 different creatives working on this project. And be where it is without all 14 of them.
And that right there brings up where I've got to go ahead. I got to focus with Amy on this one, because Amanda is really pushing and getting some ideas and things out there because she's a new creative. She's had her project going out there. She's getting success and starting to get some momentum. And she's watching this very closely. There are other creatives out there that are brand new that are watching this very closely, because this shows that dreams can come true as long as you put in the work. I've got to ask you, in doing this, in putting your head down and saying, I will do this, this is going to succeed, and pushing forward on this, what's the best piece of advice that you can give anyone that's out there that's a new creative that's starting off in this, that's something that you've learned that you would tell them that you definitely want to go ahead and go with this above anything else? We ask the good shows on, the good questions on here every once in a while.
You do. Let's see. So she's starting her own.
No, don't focus on Amanda by herself. Any creative who's out there who's like, I have an idea, but I don't know what to do.
Well, a strong support system is huge. I mean, seriously, Ninja Witch would have gone nowhere if it wasn't for him being like, let's do it. We can do this. Because I didn't know where to go for that. So he's been huge on that. It's a strong support system. Good artists. Like we just got quality artists, quality letterer, quality. We went with quality. Mm-hmm. And we could have gone cheap and not had the quality that we have now. So I think that's really important to put out a good product. Mm-hmm. And don't stress. I guess it's easier said than, I don't know. I about that.
I only stress because if it was just me, like on my art book, I was like, whatever. But it's hers, right? But so there's that added level.
But see, with me, like this was my thing, but I was like, you know what? If it does great. If it doesn't, this is a fun project that my husband and I did together. It was fun. We had fun.
Yeah, and to tie into what she said though with the pay, there's a lot of places, a lot of people out there that I look at their campaigns and they rush, right? And their goal is, I just want to get a campaign out there. Well, that's not how it works. You can rush it and get a campaign out there, but that's going to be your only campaign, right? We took the patience. This thing started in August of 21.
I think it was even earlier than that, to be honest.
It was August of 21 because I know it was August of 21 because I have a note in one of our things. But it started, basically 2 years ago, and we were patient and we made sure we had the I's dotted and the T's crossed and had the feeling we wanted, or she wanted, to portray the character the way she wanted the character portrayed. And then my job as her husband and support staff was to tell other people, no, you don't get to change it. She does. Mm-hmm. And one thing, Amanda and anybody else who does this, if you bring in somebody else, get a effing contract.
Oh, yes.
Put them on a contract. And the reason why, when we started this, we worked with a group. They signed a contract. That contract, now, my day job, I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, but my day job is contract driven. I interpret and read contracts all day. And I wrote the contract. And it protected the hell out of her and the IP. So we own the IP. It's right. Copyrights, trademarks, own it.
Right.
Make sure they're under contract. And you're going to do this. Here's what you get. If you're late, here's what you get. Here's how much you get paid per page. Here's how you get this. So when you do this, it basically outlines it. And if they don't deliver, fuck it. Go. Mm-hmm. Right? There's somebody else. And what it did for us, it forced us to take control of it.
Can I also say, also don't let anybody try to strong arm you into changing whatever it is that you were doing, a character, your story, whatever. Don't let them strong arm you. Sex doesn't always sell. Sex doesn't need to sell.
And it is something that sometimes it will get you.
That wasn't said. Oh,
Sometimes the sex will get you more money, but then again, is it worth actually doing something to your IP to make it where it's a given that it's going to have to be on every single thing that's out there, even though it has nothing to do with the story? That's what I don't understand, is the cheesecake factor on there.
Well, and this is a broader spectrum too, right? When you do that, you kind of start niching your audience base.
Yes, exactly.
I wanted my nieces to be able to read this. I mean, granted, I think it'll be a while. I don't think my sister lets them look at this kind of stuff, but I wanted them to be able to look at it and be like, oh, she's fully covered. She can kick ass. She can, you don't have to constantly have cleavage all the time.
But we have eyeballs popping out of heads. We have proper use of the word fuck and stuff like that in the book. But it's not the. I was in the Army. We're not using that the way I talked. We're using it for a very specific feeling,
right,
in the book. But I think it's going to be great because everybody can read it. Gabe can read. He'll be 13 next month. 13-year-old son, he can read it. I guess she's kind of like a mom to me. Her son owns a comic book company, so I call her Mama T. When I would do certain pictures, she'd be like, "Why are you always drawing boobies?" So when she sees stuff, she goes, "I'm glad you're not drawing boobies." So it's like, kids who are reading Wonder Woman and Batman and Spider-Man and but also there's enough of an appeal that if you're a Zenescope fan, you can pick it up or, whatever. I just think she's proud of it, which makes me proud of it.
Yeah, Tim, I'm sorry. I do say don't stress. Stress is not good for anybody. It will hurt you. I apologize. I know it's easier said than done. I just
says the one with no dye in her hair, and I'm the one with all the silver.
Because I don't stress. I don't know.
Because I do all the work.
Now we brought up earlier, and we said we were going to kind of earmark it and go back into this. We were talking about mythos, and we were going to bring up talking about what that is and the work that is going into here. So go ahead and let us know about your mythos over there.
You?
Oh, me?
I don't know, me.
You own it.
Well, we decided to create our own production company. Publishing house. That's what it is. Publishing. Movie mode. So we decided to come up with our own publishing. That way we would own everything. We don't have to answer to anybody, and they can't tell us to change things if we don't want them to. And then we can start exploring Justin's characters that he's wanted to start writing comic books for and not have to worry about.
Yeah, it's additional titles. We have a couple additional titles. So Ninja, which will be the flagship. Nice. I have 2 stories that I started in 1995, and they're still just stories. But now, once we had that platform, the other part is it allows us to eventually maybe get into Preview Magazine. It's not just what the hell?
Billy's ear hit my foot and it scared the shit out of me.
Oh, my dog's under the desk.
I didn't know he was right there.
He'll be 16. Anyway, you guys have met Philly before, most of you.
Scared me.
But having your own publishing, and people are like, oh, it's your own publishing. It's a name, and we still have somebody else print everything, but we are now responsible for everything. So it allows us to do that. If we want to go on and we want to create an anthology, we can create an anthology. So now we're at a position where we can say, hey, and then the contract is between Mythos and the person, not between Amy and Justin.
Yes. So, that is awesome being able to do that, because you got the self-publishing that you're on there, so you can protect your stuff more, but you can also direct how it's going to be used in the future and kind of open up more, branches on there. Because like you said, this being your flagship, that being self-published, you can actually start putting in other Easter eggs, and it'll lead to, oh, by the way, you saw this in, issue such and such. Now this is the character coming out.
Yeah. And then we struggled for what are we going to call this? We were like, we're going to call it, what did I come up with? Like Wonder Comics. And she's like, well, that's weak. I was like, all right, we're going to call it like this. Came up with a
lot of weak ones.
So anyway, I also came up with Mythos. So we were kind of throwing around, and what we thought about was stories in general started with mythology, right? And at the root of it, they're strong characters, but they have morals. They teach you something. knowing is half the battle, right? That's a mythos that comes out. And then we were watching 300. I introduced my stepson to 300, and he did not sheepishly hide when they showed boobs. So it was just growing up. But I was like, I think, what if we did it with a shield? So when you look at our logo, it's MCG, and then, her, and then, but I drew it as a shield and put the what do you call it, the rivets around it, and then turned it a little bit at an angle. And she wanted the what do you call it, the monogram on the inside of the shield, and then we just wanted simple lettering. Her favorite color is red. Mine's blue, but we'll go with black on this one. So we have red, black, and white. It's a strong symbol, and we actually have it so if it's just the circle versus the whole writing, it becomes a recognizable logo. And then we're going to develop and create a mythos universe, but we're not going to do the one where like this one is tied to no, they're separate. They don't have to all be tied together. But we'll see what happens and how many other titles we come up with. I have one called, so this was Ninja Witch. This is her idea. Mm-hmm. I had one a long time ago. It's called Ninja Werewolf. It's totally different. It's a lot more humor than it is anything else. And I have one called Motorcycle Monks, and the monks are spelled MUNKS. I'll just let you go with that and try to figure it out.
Okay.
And then I have Ruby's Raiders. So I have these other stories that are sitting there, and again, they're all unique and everything. And they have a bunch of hidden features and a bunch of history in it and stuff. But again, this is the primary one, and it'll take precedence over the other ones. But we have this one, and then we are planning on launching in November for book 2.
Nice.
Which is cool because all I'm going to say is, are you ready? And that's that's the hint.
Definitely paying attention to a certain Tom Hutchison over there with certain days that come into play with meaning out there, it seems like.
Yes.
So one thing that I got to ask kind of before we lead into the closing out on this, because how could I do a show and have Justin on here and not talk about Legos? Are we looking at possibly having a Lego Ninja Witch that would be available in the near future?
That would be cool.
So I actually, man, this is crazy. I was in Vegas and I was walking by in Fremont. They have a thing called like brick sticks or something, photo bricks or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you take a picture and they put it so it's a kit and it's all the little squares and it builds a Ninja Witch. So I took it and the guy's like, you have so much detail in that cover, that illustration, we can't do it for this. So I was like, well, how do we do this? He goes, if you can simplify this and this and this and this. I said, well, how big can you go? He's like, this big. I was like, all right. So to get a lot of detail, if I take it and I make the picture and I give you 1/6 of the picture and I do 6 different pieces, he's like, nobody's ever done that before. I said, well, you haven't met me yet. So I got his card.
You didn't tell me about that.
No, because it was going to be a surprise. But hey, Phil, thanks. But a Ninja Witch Lego? Sure.
That'd be sweet. That'd be pretty sweet.
Is there a Ninja Witch maybe statue coming out next year?
Maybe.
Is there Ninja Witch stuff coming? Who knows? But a lot of cool stuff. And if you look at our stretch goals, there's keychains and stuff. One of the tiers comes with so this is my Jon Snow letter opener. Well, we have a Ninja Witch Katana letter opener in one of the things. But people like art. So we have the exclusive print is not featured on any of the covers. It's something just for that, stuff like that. And then if we get to, I think it's 35,000, so we're visionaries, right? We're going to add 6 pages into the book of additional art and background and behind the scenes stuff. Nice. So, and then actually one thing that's cool is we do have a black and white edition. So there's no dialogue. So that's pretty cool. I always like that part because you can see the raw art before there's color put on it.
Yes.
But we do have some plans. We've been kicking around some ideas for some really cool things. I am working on right now, non-Ninja Witch related. I'm working with, her name is Erin Beret. She actually did the La Muerta statue and some other statues. I designed a goth Snow White, and we're designing a 1/4 scale
Wow.
Snow White statue that will take us for the rest of the year and a couple of grand to build it out. And she's our consultant on it as well. And so that'll be coming out in spring. So we're just going to be, and it's going to be a Mythos Comics Group exclusive because we can do it now.
Very cool. Now, we're going to go ahead. I would keep y'all in here all night if I possibly could, because I know we can keep talking on this. But we're going to get to the closeout part on here, and I always try to close it out the same way about talking about the 2 hashtags that I really push on here, which is number 1, hashtag power the finger, the correct one if you can. Hit that share button and get those shares out there. There you go. That's the correct one. Get those shares out there because not everybody can financially support everything that's out there. We completely understand that. Nobody's going to, pass judgment on anybody because they can't financially support anything. But you know how long it takes to use the finger? Wait, that came out wrong. You know how long it used the power of the finger? If you share something out, it doesn't take very long. And it's something that can actually help out a lot more than you think it possibly can. It triggers algorithms, but it also shows support and energy in a campaign. So use the power of the finger to go ahead and increase the hashtag Voice of the Indies. Voice of the Indies, again, was a name that was given to me by Larry Higgins of Niobe Comics. I declined having it as a personal name. I think it's more of a conglomerate name. So it's the conglomerate of the indies working together to try to get a larger voice out there and be heard by more people. So get that voice out there by using the power of the finger. And right now, we're going to put them on full screen. They're going to let you know how you need to get over there and support right now and click on that link that is supplied in all the feeds as we speak.
This is you. This is your pitch.
Me.
Tell them to go right there.
Go to the website that's listed right down there, and then you can go and share the page. You can pledge. That's the word we're looking for. You can pledge. You can do all that fun stuff.
You can leave comments on which books Amy needs to read so she become a better nerd.
Please.
Yes,
movies, I need to be a better nerd.
You can tell her the good movies to watch, stuff like that. But yeah, check it out right here. Ninja Witch campaign. It's on Kickstarter. Go in there. Look, there's pledges that start at $29. There's a pledge at $10. You can pledge for $1, whatever. But if you share it, somebody else does it, that's great. Anything you pledge, the campaign doesn't pull the funds until the 19th of May. So there's plenty of time. If you're like, hey, my paycheck's short this one, don't worry about it. And the other part is just shoot a comment on there. Hey, Justin and Amy Hunt are doing this. It's really cool. Check it out. Yes. Greatly appreciate us. And if you're not friends with us on Facebook, find us on Facebook. We're the couple that has matching pictures, kind of, but they're not. She's got a picture of us at the wedding. I got a picture of me on the swing right before she fell off of it. So find us, say hi. You can also find me on Instagram at Art of Justin Hunt. But right now, this is the campaign. We're on day 2. We are $2,254 from the $10,000 stretch goal. Yes. So we've already funded, which means the book's coming. But now is how many people are going to see the book. So my personal goal is to hit 15,000. I think that would be great, especially for the first campaign. Please go ahead, like it, and then I will tell you guys now. You're going to hear it here. We do have some mystery envelopes that will be randomly inserted into the people who pledge. You're just going to open your box and have something in there that you did not ask for and that is not offered in the campaign. The only way to get it is to pledge and get the Magic Ninja Witch envelope.
Anything too. It's not necessary. You don't have to have like the top package to get this mystery box or mystery envelope either.
It's not a box.
It's not a box. Sorry.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
It's from Saturn. Oh gosh.
Yes, thank you, Amanda, and yeah, keep us updated on your Kickstarter.
But I love that. We all need to lift each other up.
Yeah.
Amanda, I don't know if we're friends or followers on Facebook, but I have your name written down so we can go check out and see what you're doing also.
Yeah.
Yes. And Amanda, if you want to go ahead and plug what you're doing so that they're aware as well, because I know exactly what that is, but I can't remember how to spell it without it being right in front of me because it is a little different spelling. But she does a series, I believe it's Comorian King, but I can't remember how to spell it. So she's going to put that in there for you so you have that. Definitely worth looking into. Y'all have been great on here talking about this and getting to know more about what's going on with the campaign and how it's been, y'all working together. Brainstorming some eyes, some putting your eyes together on some different things on there and showing the evolution of what y'all got going over there with Mythos as well. And definitely looking forward to more and more on that. And there she goes. She just put it on there because, like I said, I can't spell it without her putting it on there. But we'll go ahead and put that on their speed reading so that you can see that and take it off of there. So if you memorized it, good. If you didn't, I'll get it back to you.
Yep.
But go ahead. Yeah, this is the actual title here. Regnum Antiquum. I will say it, I swear. It's coffee, I know. But we've had a great show. It's been an honor having y'all on here. Justin, it's been too long having you on the show. We got to correct that.
Yep.
And Amy, I'm looking forward to seeing what else you've got going on over there. And we definitely want to see what's cooking, moving forward with Ninja Witch, as well as finishing out the campaign, because I have a feeling this thing is going to finish a lot stronger than y'all are thinking.
That would be nice, but not necessary.
Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
Amy has never been a cosplayer. She met me and then she surprised me and cosplayed as one of my original characters one day. We were going to have it in this video, but it will appear in the video for episode or book number 2. We actually have hired a cosplayer and she's actually making a full Ninja Witch costume. We're paying for everything, all the supplies and all. And I'm not saying like she's made, this is legit. It's freaking awesome.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's just kind of cool to see people doing it like that. And we just kind of want to go out on it. One thing I would say is you guys can see the pictures we have of Ninja Witch. Find me on Facebook. Shoot me some fan art. Who knows? You might be on the next cover.
Oh, there you go.
That's how it works.
As long as you like stick figures, I can go ahead and shoot something over to you here later. I mean, we'll see how it comes out.
Do you know how many people I have in my stick figure catalog right now?
Well, again, I want to thank y'all for being on here. It has been an honor having y'all on. And I'm going to tell you right now, Amy, you are inspiring more people than you know with going ahead and doing this tonight and talking about this. And I'm going to say it right now, I am one of them because with my project that's coming up that I'm working with Tim Ingram, and we're co-writing that one to go ahead and launch next month. This kind of gives me a little extra push underneath me because it shows that dreams can come true as long as you put in the work. We're putting in the work, and we can definitely see it as well. But I want to thank y'all again, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what y'all have coming up in the near future. And by all means, let us know what Tony Stark is doing over there on a regular basis. I want to see what's going on, in the world over there because, are we doing hang gliding next or, free falling? I mean, there's got to be something cool coming up here pretty soon.
I think he's done enough of the free falling.
Well, Tony Stark is gonna get a new ride.
Oh,
what's Tony Stark getting?
Uh-oh, here we go.
A Corvette.
Ooh, here we go.
Yeah. So when I was at the tracks in Vegas, I think I got the bug to go fast again. So
there you go. That'll do it. Well, I certainly appreciate it, and I want to thank everyone for watching tonight on a special edition of Hell of a Show as we go ahead and go over the 24 hours that this has been out now, a little over 24 hours, doing well. So go over there to Ninja Witch. We've got the link is embedded in all the feeds, made it very simple. Click on that, go over there, support in any way you can, and I'm going to finish this off the way I do on all my shows, and I love doing it every time. Stay positive and keep it indie, y'all.